I'm Niamh Cassidy, a former social care worker who, after having my own children, found a calling as a childbirth educator and lactation consultant. Back when I started this journey, I faced the same challenges many of you might be experiencing right now, struggling to get enough clients to make my business viable long term. I knew in my heart that I had the skills and knowledge to make a difference, but the thought of marketing and selling left me feeling a bit uneasy. I didn't want to compromise my authenticity and values just to attract clients. I invested in trainings and mentorships, and I tried various strategies that I learned, but it often felt like I couldn't implement a lot of it because what I was being taught didn't match my values as a birth and postpartum worker. That's when I decided to take matters into my own hand. I embarked on a mission to learn, to experiment, and to find ethical and authentic ways to share my expertise, support my clients, and build a sustainable practice. Today, I'm proud to say that I run a thriving private practice, and I'm here to share my insights with all of you to help you to do the same. Join me on this journey as I help you bridge the gap between your passion for supporting new parents and the success you deserve. Together, we'll discover the power of ethical, authentic, and effective approaches, not only to make a living, but also to make a positive impact in the world of birth and postnatal care. Let's get started on this empowering journey together. Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Pregnancy and Postnatal Entrepreneurs Collective podcast. I'm your host, Niamh Cassidy, and I'm so excited to have you here today. We've just welcomed the newest intake into the Nest program, and I have to say this group is already diving deep into one of the most transformative but hardest parts of the program, mastering your mindset. This is one of the very first lessons in the Nest program, and like the majority of the other lessons, it comes with a workbook. The workbooks are to make sure what's being learned in the lessons is put into action, and this one is designed to help participants uncover and work through the mindset blocks that might be holding them back in their businesses. And let me tell you, it brings up a lot. But it's so important to tackle the mindset work right at the start of their journey, because without it, it's much harder to make progress when we get into the action-orientated parts of the program. So today, I want to take you, my listeners, through a taste of what we do in this lesson, because I think it is so important for everyone doing this work. I'll also share some examples from past participants and the breakthroughs they've had, and some of my own mindset stuff. So let's dive in. When it comes to starting or growing a business, mindset is the foundation for everything. If we try to go straight into pricing strategies, marketing plans, or social media strategies without addressing our thoughts and beliefs, we often hit that wall. And when people can't break through that wall, they often think it's because they're not good enough or they didn't work hard enough, but that's simply not true. This is why mindset is the first step in the Nest program. One of the key ideas that we discuss in this lesson in the program is something that I learned from one of my own coaches, Chris Fawcett, and it's the idea of temporary thought patterns, or TTPs. These are those fleeting, often negative thoughts that creep in when you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And before I go on, I just have to say a huge congratulations to Chris and Amy, who just had their first baby, and you can follow Amy at Your Mama Era to follow her baby journey if you want to, because I know a lot of you will be interested in that. So these temporary thought patterns, you might know them as imposter syndrome, but it's even a bit more than that. For example, it might be thoughts like, can I really do this? What if I fail? Who am I to charge for this when I used to be a volunteer? I'll never have the time. I won't be good enough. Does any of this sound familiar? But the important part is that these are temporary thought patterns, so they're not permanent. They're just temporary reactions to new experiences. And once you take action and see results, those thoughts tend to fade away. So recognizing them as temporary thought patterns gives us power, because they're not us. They are not necessarily true. We can choose what we think. So if we're having a negative thought, we can start thinking of different thoughts. We get to choose what it is that we think. So let me share a couple of examples from past participants. One of my participants came from a volunteer background and felt really, really uncomfortable charging for her services as a lactation consultant, because she'd been used to giving away breastfeeding information for free. So she had thoughts like, how can I ask for money when I used to do this for free? Is it appropriate and okay to charge parents for a service that's necessary for them. And together we unpacked this belief in her workbook first and then through the live coaching sessions as well. We explored how charging for her services actually allowed her to help more people by sustaining her business and her energy. And I had a similar experience myself when I started working as an antenatal teacher and a lactation consultant, as well as being a volunteer in my local breastfeeding group. I was working so hard in my business and I was trying so hard to get clients that when it was my turn to volunteer, I kind of felt hard done by. I felt, well, I could be getting paid, I'm missing out on seeing a client. So therefore, going to this group costs me this amount of money. And once I was able to kind of reframe that in that, when I looked at my pricing and when I looked at how I was charging for my services, and then I felt that I was being better compensated for the paid work that I was doing, then missing a slot to do my volunteer work felt okay. It felt fine. I felt happy to be able to volunteer and give back to my community because I felt supported and compensated in the paid part of my work. Another participant really struggled with the idea of pricing her services as a doula. She felt guilty charging for what could be too much, especially when she was just starting out. So she was looking at what everyone else was charging and thinking she had to charge less. So through our work, she kind of reframed this. We got to work on her mindset and she was able to start thinking in a different way. So instead of I'm just new, I can't charge, or I'm not as good as them, I need to charge less, she was able to think about the immense value that she is actually bringing to the families, regardless of her lesser experience than some of the other doulas. She still had a lot more experience, a lot more knowledge than that first-time parent going into birth. So we worked on statements like, I provide immense value for families and the transformation I offer is worth every cent that I charge. And just by reframing these thoughts, she was able to find a price point that she was comfortable with. So this isn't about saying that you have to charge more than someone else, the same as someone else, or less than someone else. It's where she felt comfortable in her charging, but also that she felt well supported and compensated by the money that she was earning. And these kind of breakthroughs are really, really common for the participants in the program. And they're possible because of the support and the structure that they get. Those workbooks really help them to reflect deeply. But then when we do our coaching sessions, we go even more deep. And those challenges, we really, really pick them apart. So it can be, it's hard work. I'm not going to say that it's easy, but it is definitely worthwhile. So let's do a little quick exercise together on the podcast so you can get a small glimpse into what this work might look like for you. But just before we get started, I want to introduce you to the idea of positive core beliefs. These are the beliefs that have guided you through your life's challenges so far. So have a think of what your core beliefs are. And it might be that I'm capable of overcoming challenges. Hard work pays off. I'm passionate about helping others. So have a think about what are your core belief systems that have helped you get through hard times in the past. So once you have your 3 core positive beliefs that have brought you to where you are today, just either jot them down or just keep them in your mind's eye. So again, what are those beliefs that make you resilient, determined, or resourceful? Now, let's reflect on the flip side. What beliefs might be holding you back? These might be things like, I'm not good at marketing. I don't deserve to be successful. I don't have enough time. I used to believe that I didn't have enough time to grow my business. Oh my God, it was my biggest excuse ever. I have a young family. One of my children has additional needs. I had lots of volunteer commitments, loads of appointments for my kids and for my own health challenges, and just really felt like I had no time at all. But when Chris in particular challenged me to examine that belief, I realized it wasn't about time. It was about priorities and owning my own schedule. So for you, what are your beliefs that might be holding you back? What might be the root causes of those beliefs? Are they tied to past experiences, societal norms, fear of failure? Where are they coming from for you? So I want you to take a little bit of time to think about that or to jot them down. Because once you know where they're coming from, then you can start to pick them apart, recognize them as temporary thought patterns, and then flip them around into more positive statements that are supportive to you instead. So now I want to guide you through a short visualization, and this is something we do a lot in the Nest program, but let's just do a really, really quick version. So if you can, if it's safe to do so, close your eyes and take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders and imagine your life as it is now. Picture your family, your friends, your business. How does it make you feel? Now think about a goal you want to achieve in the next year. See yourself working towards it. Picture the steps you've taken, the milestones you've hit, and how it feels to be on that path to success. What does your ideal version of success look like? Maybe it's having fully booked classes, financial stability, or more time with your family, or more time for yourself. Whatever it is, hold that vision in your mind. As you visualize this, think about what thoughts and experiences may bring you to that point in the future where you have what you want. If negative thoughts come up, try and replace them with a positive thought. As you're doing this, try and take note of some of those positive thoughts that you can replace negative thought patterns with. And now, if you have closed your eyes, you can open them again, come back to the room. And if you have a piece of paper and a pen nearby, jot them down. Jot down some of the positive thoughts that you were able to come up with for yourself. Keep these somewhere where you can look at them again and again. So how did doing that exercise, having this conversation make you feel? This is just a small taste of some of the mindset work that we do in the program. And if it resonated with you, imagine how transformative it might be to go deeper into that with more lessons and live coaching. The next round of the Nest program will be opening up in coming months. If you want to get onto the waitlist for that program, there is a link in the show notes. It's a no obligation waitlist, so it just means you'll be the first to hear. And if those positions are filled by the waitlist, then it will never go public. So if this is something that you're interested in, you want to find out more, drop me a DM or just join the waitlist. And even if you are not at that point where you're ready to make next steps in your business, do think about the mindset work that you need to do to bring you to that point. So what are those negative thoughts or those temporary thought patterns that are holding you back, and what can you do about them? Okay, this has been absolutely fabulous. I am absolutely delighted to have spent this time with you. And coming up next week, we are starting a guest series. So I have loads of fabulous guests coming up, and I had to overcome my own little mindset thing yesterday when recording with one of my guests. So I recorded the entire interview, which was 55 minutes long, and then when I went to edit it, it had only recorded my guest. It hadn't recorded me. So I could have made the choice to get really, really frustrated, upset, angry, and overwhelmed. But I chose instead, I took a moment and I chose instead to firstly feel grateful that at least it recorded her side of the conversation, so I have something to work with. And to go with Marie Forleo's saying of everything is figure outable. So rather than catastrophizing and being overwhelmed and going to bed upset and not being able to sleep, I decided, you know what, I'm going to figure that out tomorrow. So now when I finish this recording, I'm going back to edit that recording and to add in my questions again, and hopefully it will all make sense. So we get to choose what we think, we get to choose how we feel. And this is ongoing work that I do with myself all the time, through my journaling, through gratitude, through reflective practice, through therapy. And it really, really has benefited me in my business. And mindset work, if you're not doing it already, I really, really encourage you to start today. Okay, I'll talk to you next week. Bye.